In some not so surprising news, the Broncos are waiving tight end Greg Dulcich. We're going to break down this transaction, everything you need to know, as the Broncos have cut a former day 2 draft pick of theirs. And like I said, I am not surprised by this. For one, Greg Dulcich has not suited up since week 4 against the Jets. He has been a healthy scratch for 8 straight weeks, so he's not playing on the field. And you can look at that for a couple of reasons. If it was because the Broncos have so much veteran tight end talent above him, okay, I can buy that, but that is not the case. The Broncos don't have a ton of veteran tight end talent above him. They are waiting for a tight end to break out, and Greg Dulcich ultimately could not stay healthy for the first couple of years, and then this year could not just impress the coaches enough to even get activated on game day. So the former third-round pick out of UCLA unfortunately had a lot of his opportunities early on stripped away because of reoccurring hamstring injuries, and it was frustrating because when he was on the field, like I'll always remember that Chargers game on, was it Monday night, his NFL debut, week 5, and it looked like a very promising start to hopefully a good career in Denver, and ultimately it is cut short after just 2.5 seasons with the Broncos. So Dulcich will hit the waiver wire. I would not be surprised if another team picks up Dulcich, puts in a claim for him. He's young, he is fast, and he has shown that he is capable of making NFL plays, but it hasn't been with the Broncos this year, and they now just turn their attention to the rest of the tight ends who have been carrying the workload for them. Lucas Kroll, I think he has had some good moments this year. Nate Atkins, as of late, has had some nice moments stepping up. And then Adam Trautman kind of leads the bunch, but it's only 158 yards and 1 touchdown. So it is by far the most underwhelming tight end room in the National Football League. And when the bar is here and Dulcich still in practice couldn't break through and get onto the active roster on game day, I'm not surprised at all that after 8 weeks of being a healthy scratch, both parties decide, hey, it might be best to just kind of shake hands and walk away. It was just a matter of time for me when this was going to happen. I thought the Broncos might trade him. Ultimately, no one was willing to give the Broncos even a late 7th round draft pick in 2030 for him. So after a couple of weeks, they decide, all right, enough's enough. Let's go our separate way, especially with 2 guys potentially returning from injured reserve and the PUP list soon. So Josh Reynolds and Drew Sanders both had their practice windows open. What that means is once their practice window is open, they can practice for up to 21 days, and after 21 days, they either have to be added to the 53-man roster or they go back to injured reserve or the PUP list and are gone for the remainder of the season. Now, for Drew Sanders, he has until the end of this week to either be added to the active roster or he goes back to the reserve PUP list, kind of like DeLaren Turner-Yell a few weeks ago, and is gone for the rest of the season. As for Josh Reynolds, he has until next week. So my suspicion is one of these 2 players is coming onto the active 53-man roster soon, and Denver had to make a roster move to open up a spot, and what better candidate than a guy who's been a healthy scratch for 8 straight weeks. Now, if you want to make sure that you are the smartest guy in your Broncos group chat or when you go to the bar next time and you're not the person that learns the news from your friends and you had no idea that a former former 3rd round pick and a day 2 draft pick was released, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're going to do our absolute best to make sure you get the latest Broncos news as soon as it drops. That's why me and producer Reed turned around, came back to work to make sure you guys got a video. Now, let's talk about the offense as a whole because Dulcich leaving is not going to change anything, of course. I mean, I don't think anyone should think it does. He hasn't been a part of the offense for 2 months now. Healthy scratch, like I said, 8 straight weeks. So Bo Nix, he has found a couple of favorites, and usually rookie quarterbacks love to go to tight ends, but that really hasn't been the case so much for Nix as of late. One name that is creeping up the depth chart, it is Devaughn Vele. He was 2nd in snaps amongst all wide receivers in their win over the Raiders. And look now, he is currently 2nd in targets for the team this season, behind Courtland Sutton, ahead of Javonte Williams and Lil'Jordan Humphrey and Troy Franklin. Devaughn Vele has been putting on some really good tape the last couple of weeks as someone who has surefire hands, can be trusted over the middle of the field. He might be the next Tim Patrick for this team. Now, as for the tight ends, I wish I could say more positive things. Trotman leads the bunch with 15 targets. Kroll has 14, and Nate Atkins has 7. So overall, the tight end room has you leaving with wanting a little bit more out of it. And it definitely makes me wonder how aggressive Denver is going to be in attacking this tight end room, because they desperately need some, influx of talent over the offseason. So what would you say the bigger need is for this team right now? A running back or a tight end? Running back has more value to a team, but maybe you could argue that the current running back makeup is passable, whereas the tight end room is just simply an F grade for me. I would go running back simply because of the value and the importance and the amount of touches that a running back gets compared to a tight end. But I feel like Denver, in a pretty loaded tight end draft class coming up, Colston Loveland out of Michigan. There's that tight end from Penn State who's really good as well. So those are two guys to circle as we enter the NFL draft period in a couple of weeks and months. Before we let you guys get on with the rest of your Monday evenings, make sure to check out this awesome Pat Surtain jersey sale over at chatsports.com/PS2. These sales are going to expire soon, so don't wait, because if you put it off for a week, which I'm kind of nicknamed day late, dollars short by my mother, so don't be like me. Don't procrastinate. Get this awesome deal right now, because this awesome jersey sale is going to be over soon, and then you're going to be paying $40 or $50 more than you would have if you just took my advice and went to chatsports.com/PS2. Before we sign off, one last note here. Big shout out to the Blue and Orange Club. Slap yourself. I don't give a buck. I don't give a duck. John, E., Anthony, Bobby, and Rick, thank you guys so much for always tuning in and supporting us during our watch parties. We will be live for the next couple of weeks here for game day, so make sure you don't miss a single thing. When you are subscribed, you have your notifications turned on, and of course, you like the video because you love us here. And liking the video goes a long way to help boost the channel. All right, if you are still watching right now, I just want to get a quick shout out to the end of the video crew. Scroll on down for me if you're still watching and type DEN in the comment section. That way I can get a good pulse of who the end of the video crew is. But that will do it for us. The news of today is Greg Dulcich waived, former third-round draft pick, so definitely a disappointment that his time in Denver came to an end so quickly, just 2.5 years with the Broncos. But for anyone that's been following the team this year, it's not a big surprise to us. Like I said, healthy scratch, 8 straight weeks. Last played week 4 against the Jets. So Broncos ready to go a different direction with 2 guys coming back from injury soon. Had to open up a roster spot, and he was probably the first name on the chopping block.